Welcome to our deep dive into some of the most unusual and intriguing aspects of life in Pakistan. From age-old traditions that may seem outlandish to outsiders, to practices deeply rooted in culture and societal norms, this video will take you on a journey through the lesser-known sides of this fascinating country. 25. The 3-day wedding marathon. One of the most vibrant aspects of Pakistani culture is their love for grand weddings. A typical Pakistani wedding is a 3-day celebration filled with music, dance, elaborate outfits, and lots of food. The 3 main events are Mehndi, henna night. This pre-wedding event is all about colorful clothes, henna designs, singing, and dancing. It's a celebration where both families come together to bless the couple. Barat. This is the main wedding day when the groom arrives with his entourage, usually in a grand procession. The bride's family formally hands her over to the groom in an emotional ceremony. Walima. The final day of the wedding festivities is hosted by the groom's family, marking the official union. It's a more relaxed event focused on eating and celebrating with friends and family. The spectacle of these weddings can be overwhelming to outsiders, but is an integral part of Pakistani culture, symbolizing unity, joy, and the beginning of a new life. 24. Marrying cousins. Keeping it in the family. In Pakistan, it's quite common for people to marry their cousins, particularly their father's sister's daughter and their mother's brother's son. This tradition is partly based on the belief that marrying within the family strengthens familial ties and ensures that property and wealth stay within the family. Although cousin marriages are accepted in many cultures worldwide, outsiders might find this practice a bit unusual, considering the genetic risks associated with it. 23. The age mystery. There's a peculiar issue in Pakistan where the age on a person's ID card often doesn't match the actual date of birth on their birth certificate. This happens because the parents sometimes have their babies delivered at home and don't file any official documents till years later. Plus, many people intentionally alter their official age for various reasons, such as educational requirements, job eligibility, or marriage proposals. This practice is so widespread that it's almost a norm, creating confusion around people's real ages. 22. Low literacy rate and gender disparity in education. Pakistan struggles with a low literacy rate, particularly among women. In many rural areas, girls are often expected to stay at home to help with household chores rather than attend school. This cultural expectation significantly impacts their education and career opportunities, reinforcing the gender gap that persists in many parts of the country. 21. The 40-80-day rule. After giving birth, it's common for Pakistani women to stay secluded and avoid certain activities for 30 days if they've had a son, or around 80 days for a daughter. During this time, they're considered unclean and often abstain from religious practices and social interactions. This tradition, though meant to give the new mother time to recover, reflects a cultural bias where sons are given preference over daughters. 20. Keeping the birth of a daughter secret. In many conservative areas of Pakistan, the birth of a female child is often kept secret or not celebrated with the same enthusiasm as that of a male child. This practice stems from the perception that boys will carry on the family name and provide economic support, while girls are often seen as a financial burden due to the dowry system. 19. Women's rights in marriage and consent. In Pakistan, a woman is often expected not to refuse her husband's advances in the bedroom. The concept of marital consent is not widely recognized in many traditional households, making it difficult for women to have autonomy over their own bodies. This practice highlights the deep-rooted patriarchy that influences marital relations in certain regions. 18. Inheritance laws favor men. In In terms of inheritance, Pakistani women generally receive a smaller share than their male counterparts. According to Islamic law, a woman is entitled to half of what a man receives. While this law aims to balance financial responsibilities, it has been a topic of debate regarding gender equality in Pakistan. 17. The dowry system and its burden on families. The dowry system is still prevalent in Pakistan, where the bride's family is expected to provide a substantial dowry to the groom's family. This tradition puts immense financial pressure on the bride's family and often leads to disputes, or even the dissolution of engagements if expectations aren't met. Although considered illegal, dowry demands are still widely practiced. 16. Honor killings, a tragic reality. Honor killings remain a tragic part of Pakistani society, especially if a woman is suspected of having premarital relations. Families believe that such actions tarnish their honor, and in extreme cases they resort to violence. Despite the legal ramifications, these acts often go unpunished due to societal acceptance and the lack of stringent law enforcement. 15. Badal, a unique justice system. The tribal concept of badal is a form of retribution, where if a person from one family kills someone from another, the victim's family may demand a girl from the perpetrator's family. The girl is often treated as a servant or even worse, forced to live a life of subjugation to settle the score. This practice highlights the extreme measures taken to restore honor and balance in tribal areas. 14. Dress code and modesty norms. Traditional attire is highly valued in Pakistan, and there are strict norms against wearing revealing or Western clothing in public. Women are generally expected to dress modestly, covering most of their bodies. Any deviation from this dress code is often judged harshly and can even be met with severe criticism or harassment. 13. No public displays of affection. PDA. PDA is frowned upon in Pakistan, and even something as simple as holding hands with a partner in public can be considered inappropriate. Couples often find themselves subjected to stares, judgment, or even confrontation if they show affection in public. This conservative approach stems from societal values that prioritize modesty and restraint. 12. No third gender recognition until recently. For the longest time, Pakistan did not officially recognize the third gender on national ID cards. Transgender individuals were forced to choose between the male or female gender, despite their identities not aligning with these categories. It wasn't until 2009 that the Supreme Court of Pakistan ruled that transgender people could be recognized as a separate gender on their national identification documents. This ruling was a significant step towards social acceptance and legal rights for the transgender community, although societal discrimination still poses many challenges. 11. Forced marriages and selling young girls. In certain parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, KPK, young girls are sometimes sold into marriages as a way to settle disputes or pay off debts. These child marriages are not only forced but also exploitative, trapping these girls in a life of hardship with no choice of their own. This practice is driven by poverty and the lack of education. 10. Locked privates in tribal areas. Allegedly, in rare tribal regions of Pakistan, there's a disturbing tradition where a woman's chastity is literally controlled by her husband through the use of a physical lock, with the husband keeping the key dot. This practice was confirmed by a gynecologist and represents an extreme level of control over women's bodies and their freedom. 9. Animal abuse allegations. There are shocking reports of bestiality in remote areas where practices involving animals such as goats or donkeys have been reported. These practices are often linked to lack of awareness, extreme poverty, and societal neglect in educating remote communities about morality and animal rights. 8. acid attacks, a horrifying act of revenge. Acid throwing is still a significant issue in Pakistan, primarily targeting women as a form of revenge or punishment for rejecting a marriage proposal or for other disputes. These attacks not only disfigure victims but also leave them with long-lasting physical and emotional scars. 7. Polio and health misconceptions. Polio continues to exist in Pakistan, one of the few countries in the world where the disease hasn't been eradicated. There's also a widespread misconception that polio vaccines cause infertility, which has hindered the progress of vaccination campaigns in remote areas. 6. Restrictions on widows, mourning traditions. When a woman's husband dies in Pakistan, especially in rural areas, she is expected to remain in seclusion for 3 months, not interacting with anyone outside her immediate family. This period of isolation, known as Iddat, is meant to signify mourning, but also severely limits the woman's freedom and social interactions. 5. Gender inequality in labor and suffering in silence. During labor, women in conservative areas are often expected to remain quiet and not express pain vocally. Screaming or shouting during childbirth is frowned upon, as she is never to be heard from by other men in the hospital or home. This expectation pressures women to suppress their pain, reflecting the gender inequalities ingrained in societal norms. 4. Land of many languages. Pakistan is a land of linguistic diversity, with more than 70 languages spoken across the country. From Urdu and Punjabi to Sindhi, Pashto, and Balochi, each language reflects the rich cultural heritage of its speakers. However, this diversity also leads to challenges in communication and integration between different ethnic groups. 3. Load shedding, the never-ending power crisis. Unannounced power cuts, known locally as load shedding, are a daily reality in Pakistan. These blackouts can last for hours, disrupting everyday life and forcing people to rely on generators and alternative energy sources. The inconsistency of electricity supply is a constant frustration for businesses and households alike. 2. Shooting fires in KPK to claim women. In certain tribal customs in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, KPK, a disturbing practice exists where men claim ownership of women from different households by firing shots in the air. This act is a public declaration of their intent to marry the woman, often done without her knowledge or consent. This tradition is a way for men to assert dominance and control, reinforcing patriarchal values deeply rooted in tribal societies. 1. Guru system and transgender discrimination. Transgender individuals in Pakistan are often compelled to live under the guru system, where they are taken under the wing of a guru in exchange for financial contributions or their earnings. While recent years have seen some progress with legal recognition of transgender rights, discrimination and societal exclusion remain rampant. The guru system, despite its protective intentions, can sometimes limit their independence and freedom. These are just a few of the strange and, at times, troubling practices and traditions found in Pakistan. They reflect a mix of deeply rooted cultural norms, religious beliefs, and societal pressures that shape the lives of millions. While progress is being made in some areas, others remain challenges that require attention and change. Which fact shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more juicy videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more adventure tales from around the world, where everyday new secrets are revealed.